Hello and welcome to Bear Woman's Den. This is September 30th, 2020. I hope your day or night is going well and that you are experiencing many moments of peace and ease. As I begin, just like to offer a reminder that good self-care is very important. The contents of this video are likely to be intense in terms of content and emotional expression. So feel free to hover your hand over the pause feature and stop watching at any time that it makes good sense for you. So I'd like to begin with a mandala drawing I did yesterday. Here it is. This is an expression of the grief and sadness that's been moving through for a while, particularly since a few days ago. See, there's a lot of energy going on. The mouth is in the form of a heart that's bleeding. There's a lot of tears coming out. You can see by the eyes and all this expressive lines that there's a lot of energy happening, a lot of overwhelm. As I just heard someone express as they reflected on this, it's like the ego being overwhelmed by the process of these emotions moving through, and couldn't stop it even if I wanted to, and that is accurate. So there's the image. So part of the context is that I'm nearing the end of my 6th decade of life. And while I've been experiencing this process of grieving, over the parts of what's left of life for me for at least 2 or more years now. Some shifts in that have been happening for me. Part of it is acknowledging that this body is not middle-aged anymore. The aging process is in full gear, as it were, or at least that's the gear that's left to work within. And there are many parts of it that are hard and that bring up sadness and grief and even self-blame. I became totally and permanently disabled when I was 32. So that has been core foundational feature of my middle age, the stage of life that is middle age, as opposed to the late stage, which I'm transitioning into. And I think over half of that was spent pretty darn sick. So, anyway, and the longest downturn was initiated in significant part because of decisions I made, and really wishing that the highest functioning level I had gotten to with this disability had been a true foundation of health rather than simply functional capacity. I had a lot more functional capacity because of a lot of health interventions I was doing on a daily basis, a lot of intensity. And I misattributed it to that my body was better. So I made some decisions that resulted in a sudden, acute, spiraling downturn of my health that took a while to stabilize. And after I did get some stability, I made another quite understandable and unwise decision to relax the standards of care I was doing in order to have more of a life. What that meant is to be able to access more mainstreamish things, to be able to go out and engage more with people, with life activities, and take the health consequences that were occurring. And again, there was a lot of denial of thinking that the symptoms that were happening were short term, and I just kept managing them and managing them and managing them until the consequences in my body had built up so much that it was no longer possible to continue doing that. So, suffice it to say that between those decisions and another decision I made later when I was very ill, that I chose and took actions that had a direct effect on my health and quality of life in the negative sense. And so there's been a lot of struggle with self-blame around that, and wondering what might have that part of my life been like if things hadn't played out that way. Um, you know, it's uncorrectable in terms of that time is past. The physical resilience that the body had or might have had during those years is not here. Um, I'm left with the resilience that is, the resilience that remains, and with an aging body, um, in addition to all the disabling features and the illnesses and the disease and the progressions, and it's a very different prognosis for life from here. So, as part of my reconciling to that reality, I've been for years reducing excess possessions, and I just let go of physically passed on one of my musical instruments a few days ago, and actually physically having that pass out of my life um, really triggered a deeper layer of grief. Um, Music's been an important part of my life, including composing, playing with others. And in some ways, I find it like what happens when there's a death of a parent and there's been issues, that as long as that parent was still alive, it was at least theoretically possible to somehow improve the relationship with them. And once they're physically dead, there's a finality to the hope, the wish of that possibility. And so, in a similar and different way, that's part of what I'm experiencing with the releasing of the physical instrument. Um, while it was here, it was at least theoretically possible to play, and now it's not. Other things that are going on, my goodness, let's see. I have one friend, trigger warning, serious health issues. One friend who was supposed to be scheduled for surgery today to have her foot amputated, who's been in a long term rehab facility for about 3.5 years and getting inadequate care. Sometimes the errors that were being made were, in one case, potentially could have been fatal. And I have another friend, I think it's this week, who's having 3 medical procedures, including a biopsy, with a potential for one or more serious, very serious, life threatening conditions, including cancer. I have multiple friends dealing with cancers of various kinds and various stages, and one who's in like his third round of relapse, and this may be his last round. Um, and yeah, so a lot of intense stuff going on. Uh, and part of dealing with the process of aging, already moving into it with multiple disabling conditions, is the awareness, secondhand from people I know directly, third hand from people they know, and so many stories about inadequate care at the physical level, the medical level, and certainly the emotional and psychological levels. Um, I don't have any illusions about that part of the delivery of healthcare in the healthcare system in this country. And I certainly do want to avoid ending up living that kind of experience. So I didn't write up any notes. I don't know where I wanted to take this. Uh, well, I guess I'm remembering it's hard because it's hard. And all these emotions moving through me, it's a healthy process and a necessary process. And it's sure taking a lot of energy. So I feel happiness, gratitude, and anticipation of the new horizons that are opening up as I'm letting go of things and moving them out of my space, including emotional, the grieving, opening up space for the possibilities of this next stage or phase of my life. And I really appreciate knowing that others have experienced that as the body's vitality wanes, that there are many aspects of the inner life and the spiritual life, and even also potentially in relationships, um, that have the opportunity to flower in ways that are deeper or sometimes perhaps even different from the way life unfolds in earlier stages of life. So there is a lot of sadness and grief, many waves of that, and there is gratitude and joy and periods of peace and ease. And I'm thankful, very, very thankful that that is also possible during this period, this process. And I'm also very thankful that my psyche seems to have some wisdom, this organism, there's some wisdom that is helping this process go relatively slowly so that I'm more able to engage with it so it's not completely overwhelming all the time. Um, I guess the last thing I'd like to share is that part of what I've been hearing from some of the teachers I've been listening to, I even heard it in a live broadcast by the Dalai Lama the other night. Complete paraphrase. That the idea is let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. That even if I can't do anything other than be with the person I'm with when I'm relating with them, just living my life at a very basic level, even that has value and it's okay. It's okay enough. I don't have to do more than I can do. And not only is it okay, it's like the most essential thing. Just making a difference, one life at a time, one connection, one contact at a time. Even while that connection is also something I need, that doesn't dilute its worth. It's okay to just live my life, follow my process, and let the light that is within me shine as it does, when it does, how it does. I don't have to macro or micromanage it. Just being myself and doing what I need to get through my life is enough. More than enough. That I'm already doing what's essential. Namaste. Thank you for listening.